Welcome to No Contingencies, a real estate live show with no filters, no BS, and no safety nets. This is episode 21 of our show, and we are now on the air. I'm Liz Ryan.
I'm Parker Pemberton.
I'm Angie Hannan.
Hi, Angie Hannan. Nick Warple, our typical producer, is out today, so instead we are joined by Kyle Phelps, who I see is not really intending to be on the mic, but I'm going to call him out anyway. What's up, Kyle? Love it. All right. Hi, Angie. Today our guest today is one of our, this is what I wrote about you, Angie, one of our longtime and honestly most favorite agents. Let's just be real. Angie Hannan, please help me. Welcome Angie to the show. Kyle, cue the applause. He's like, I don't know. He's clapping. That's okay. It's all right. We got you. It's okay. That's great. Hi, Angie.
Hi.
Okay. Tell us about you in general. Give our listeners the 30-second nutshell of Angie Hannan.
Okay. I'm married to my high school boyfriend.
Yay.
We have a 15-year-old daughter who's soon to be 16, which I can't believe. We met in Bloomington. We still live in Bloomington. We love to go to our camper, and we've got pets that we adore, and real estate is definitely my favorite job that I ever had.
Ooh, I love it. Okay, that segues so well into my first question. So, tell us about your career before real estate. What were you doing before that?
Oh, gosh.
What
wasn't I doing? So, right out of college, I worked as a preschool teacher and did that for 3 years, and then I moved into the director role. Did that for about a year. From there, I went and did marketing and advertising with a company called Media Space Solutions and worked there for several years. And then I got into HR a little bit, and also I worked for a company where I would help hire employees for temporary positions. And it was for appraisal management company, actually.
Oh,
so
really?
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. And then my very best friend, who is a realtor, just talked to me about the business itself and was like, you'd probably be pretty good at this. So then that's when I started thinking about real estate.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, and then your first gig in real estate was what?
I interviewed with an agent who had been in the business for a long time, and she was looking for a full-time assistant. And I was like, well, what better way to get my feet wet? Mm-hmm. So I started working for her and worked for her for 3.5 years. And that honestly taught me so much, more than any real estate classes are going to teach you.
Yeah.
So that's when I really fell in love with the business. And then I decided to get licensed myself. And then at that point, we decided to part ways. And then I worked for another group for about 1.5 years. Also as their assistant, but also licensed at the same time. Yeah. So I could do some business on the side, but it became more so me wanting to do more on my own.
Yeah.
And so then I happened to be having a glass of wine with a good friend of mine, and I was telling her, I kind of want to move on, but I'm not really sure where to go. And she was like, my friend, Kathy, her husband is a broker, and you should look into him. And so at that time I was like, look up Parker Pemberton.
No way.
Yeah, so I looked you up on Facebook and reached out to you on Messenger, and I think I met with you like the following Tuesday. And at that point I was like, yep, this is where I want to be.
Oh my God. You knew all this? Oh,
yeah, of course. Yes, of course. What year was that? Was it 2020?
2021. Because this will be my 5th year here.
It was right after all the COVID craziness. We still had some aftermath, but yeah, that is crazy. Just curious, as you were talking about your history, what was your dream job when you were a kid? What did you want to be?
I'm so embarrassed to say this. My husband's gonna really be embarrassed. I talk about this all the time. I wanted to do road construction.
Yes. Okay.
That's amazing. What drew you to that passion?
Well, I wanted to be outside.
Okay.
I wanted to be doing something physical, and then I wanted to get a good tan.
I would worry about it later.
Okay, so that was when I was a little younger. After that, honestly, I mean, at one point I wanted to be a pediatrician.
Correct.
And then a teacher maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Road construction is the one that kind of stands out in my brain of what I wanted to be when I was a kid.
You're willing to do the hard work.
Yeah.
You're not afraid of it. Liz, what was yours?
I always wanted to do something with like oceans and, you know, the marine biologist thing. I didn't like science in particular. I just liked oceans and dolphins.
You thought they were pretty.
Yeah, I did. I really did. Yeah.
What about
How
you?
about you?
I wanted to be a veterinarian.
Oh.
Yeah. Because I always loved animals, and I still do. But and then I also wanted to be a hockey player. But
Well, sure.
that dream.
You never want to be a pro golfer?
Not early on. I didn't
Okay.
start golfing until I was 11-ish, 12 years old.
Okay.
So a little bit later.
Yeah.
But I always ask that question because it's so interesting where great agents come from, right?
From road construction.
From road
Clearly,
construction. Yeah. But there's kind of a little bit of everything in there. And the other thing that stuck out to me is how important those first several years are if you handle them properly. Because so many agents just go get licensed, they pick a brokerage, they sit at a desk, and they're like, what do I do now? And you went and actually you saw the opportunity of being able to learn from fast-paced teams and agents. And I mean, talk about that for a second.
I mean, it was when I first started working for the first agent, I didn't know to what level she was working. And I soon realized that her level of business was a lot more than most.
Okay.
You know, I would see other people in the office and hear them talking about like having a listing, and my boss had like 7 at the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, she's really busy. And so I remember doing, you know, sending documents for clients and making sure she has what she needs when she goes to listing appointments or goes to showings. And it was a lot. And there were things that I didn't know went into real estate until I started working with her that started to click for me. Like, no wonder she has to have an assistant. She's so incredibly busy. And then it was nice when it was her listing and me being her assistant, not licensed, I could show her listing. And so that was helpful if she got a sign call or something.
Yeah.
And so helping take some of the burden off of her and just help her with that was really huge for me. But just watching her interact with her clients, her professionalism, I mean, she was dressed very professionally every single day.
Really?
Yes. The way she held herself, it was just, that was what I looked at, and I'm like, okay, if I'm going to be an agent, I need to do some of these things too, because she's wonderful. And I think she's still very busy. I haven't talked to her in a long time, but I think she's still doing very well.
She does great. She's I mean, one of those agents that just lasts as, you know, decades as top producer. And it's because those habits and those activities. And so when you got in and you saw that from her, it gave you this image of what a successful person in real estate was. And then you got the opportunity to say, all right, how do I want to do this?
Yeah.
But how, you know, nowadays it's crazy because we have 1.5 million realtors, according to NAR, right?
Yeah.
And the stat that Tim Dane shared yesterday was, I think it was 73% haven't sold a house in 2026 per the MLS, because he owns the MLS.
And then he said the average sells 3 per year.
Yeah.
Crazy to me. So is the industry setting agents up incorrectly from the start, do you think? Should there be, like, think about other industries, like in law, right?
Yeah.
There are a series and things you have to do before you become a full-fledged.
No, it's way worse. It's way worse in that.
Way
sense.
worse, yeah.
Way worse.
Yeah.
I mean, you finish law school. Law school is very much like real estate school. It has very little to do practically with what you do as an attorney. And then there's like, okay, well, go work somewhere. You're like, well, I have no skills or experience, but okay. So like the best thing you can do is the type of thing that Angie did, which is go find somewhere that will let you do all of the lowest level work on all of their files and just as many reps as you can get in.
Yeah.
And then take that knowledge and build on it, because right off the bat,
you don't know what you're doing.
No.
And to jump in completely green into a pool of agents that have been doing this for so long, like, you're obviously going to struggle.
Yeah.
And no matter what, when you start, you don't have a huge network and you have to start at the bottom.
Right.
But, you know, having that background of tools that I learned from her definitely was helpful in how I can pursue getting leads or talking to new clients or talking to people at Starbucks or wherever I'm out and about and trying to network myself naturally that way too. I would have the vision of good agents and how they do it and utilize it that way.
Yeah. Well, no, it's a gift, but it was also an intentional decision that you made. So you deserve all of that credit.
Sure. Absolutely.
I think that should be some sort of a requirement where there should be some sort of approving process or you work your way up, because that's why we have a 73% failure rate.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the failure rate in real estate's higher, but 73% of agents haven't sold a house. Well, yeah, it's because they don't teach you how to actually sell houses.
Yeah.
They teach you about like redlining and like contracts.
The rules.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the rules.
not the relationship piece and how to not only obtain a client, but keep them and get referral business from them.
Yeah.
Being the good person that you are, and not only a salesperson, but just a relationship person, because we all know that real estate is definitely more relationship-based than sales-based.
100%. And perhaps some of those early day jobs that you had, being the director, teaching background,
Mm-hmm.
that definitely serves a purpose when it comes to taking care of people.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking about others, not yourself.
For sure.
And you're thinking about how can I make their experience better. And those are the things that truly stick out. And if you look at great agents, you can always track it back to several things like this, which Angie, again, you deserve all the credit. Even when you came over to us, you took the jump. I mean, you didn't have a part-time job and say,
scared.
I'm gonna, yeah, you're like, hey.
Yeah.
And
Marty and I both were. We're like, okay, so no salary, you're just doing this? Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah.
And you're the type of person that makes that work.
Yeah, thank you.
Roll up the sleeves, it's a construction worker mentality, baby.
That's right. I am 100% going to bring you some type of vest or hat or something. It's coming, because that's
I love
and
that.
Angie also is one of a select few that really took advantage of lead opportunities for a couple years, 2 years, and then really catapulted that into a personal business.
for sure.
And that is literally to a T what we teach and what we say. I mean, like, getting rid of the bad words. I basically say, if you're on leads for more than 2 to 3 years, I'm going to slap you in the head.
Right.
And I'm not going to actually do that.
That was the filtered version. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, well, you can say something worse, I guess. Because if you take those opportunities long term, you never know how to grow an organic sphere business and take care of people like you have.
I remember when I first started and you said that, and you said, taking leads and building your business for 2 years, you should be able to turn that over and have an 80-20 personal business instead of 20-80 personal business. And I, at that time, was like, I don't know. Like, am I going to be able to have that many clients of personal business? And it's so true. I mean, not only do those clients that I met originally 5 years ago, now they're my personal clients, but like their friends and family have become my clients too, which is just such an amazing feeling when somebody that you worked with trusts you enough to give your name out and say, this is who you need to work with. So yeah, being able to build my business, having the leads that we had was crucial to getting me to where I am.
Yeah.
I love that you remember that conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Because we talk about it all the time, but there's so much information coming at you. It's hard to remember all the important pieces. So I love that. But it's also true that as much as we say that, or anybody in the industry says that, the vast percentage of agents don't maintain that relationship ongoing with people they've worked with. So what makes you different? How do you maintain those relationships?
Well, I think it depends on each person. So it's one relationship is not the same as every other.
Yeah.
There are certain people that immediately when I meet them, like if they came through as like a Zillow lead and I met them at the house, I try to read what type of personality they are. And I'm thinking about one client in particular. When I first met her, she had her 3 daughters with her. And I was like, okay, these guys are super fun. I really want to become close with them because not only do I have a daughter that's similar in age to one of hers, but they were all super outgoing and bubbly, and they were excited about this next step in their lives. And so we met at the house, but I remained close with her and got to know her daughter's ages and birthdays and graduation dates and all that. And so I try to be very present with them and send texts on birthdays and send cards on birthdays or grad party days, and we have become friends to the point where we follow each other on social media and we comment on things, and there might be a time where we actually just go out and hang out together because we've become so close. Then there are other types of clients that are definitely not going to be my buddy, but I get to know them in a way that if they're more analytical, which I'm not, I'm definitely like, let's talk and let's have fun, and I'm more personality, like relationship based, and if there's somebody who's not, I can understand that, and so I can pivot and start to work with what they like. And I just make sure that I give them what they need, not only during the transaction, but afterward. So like you guys have told us to do, a year after they close, if there's some equity in their home, like sending them a new market analysis and saying, hey, still thinking about you, hope you still love your place, you've gained a little bit of equity, that's exciting. Just keeping on top of it, but not like too much where I'm reaching out monthly and saying like, how do you love your kitchen? Have you entertained much yet? It's just kind of touching base every now and then, depending on the person and how much I think they want it.
Yeah.
So
that's enormous in terms of understanding people, because there's some people that just aren't looking for the touchy-feely stuff.
Yeah.
And then there are others that they connect with you right away, and they're like, this is a person I want in my life forever.
Yeah.
And it's really your relationship to lose if you think about it.
Mm-hmm. I agree. There's people that I've met at the gym that, we see each other at 5 a.m. every morning, and I've had one guy in particular, he's like 85. He's the sweetest old man. His name is George. I just adore him. He compliments the fact that I'm there. Okay, but George, you're also here at 5 a.m. and, you're getting up there in age, and he's sent business over to me, and it's like, I just love that. Like, that was such an organic meeting, and I didn't have to sell him anything for him to refer me business. He just liked me and thought, I don't know. So there's different ways to keep those relationships. It just depends on the person.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so you're at the gym every day at 5.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. What other routines are part of your life, whether professionally or personally? What does that look like?
So my husband and my daughter would probably both say I'm OCD in a way. For certain things. My bed has got to be made perfectly. I mean, honestly, the minute I get out of bed, it's made. If Marty's still in it, I have to wait, obviously. But
just cover him up.
Yeah. As soon as he's out, the bed is made. And so that is one thing. It is a non-negotiable. The bed has to be made every single day. As far as routines go, I mean, my morning consists of the gym, breakfast, and then I'm on my computer, and I am looking for my active buyers who are looking for properties. I'm scouring the MLS to see if there's anything new that I can send them, and just reaching out to current transactions that are happening, giving updates on what to expect next, and making sure I've got closing gifts scheduled that I'm going to be putting together for closings that are coming up. And so that's my morning. Then I get ready and I'm either out and about with clients, or I come into the office and network and work here. And then I try to be home in the evening. Charlotte's usually got some volleyball stuff, but we like to be home, and so I try to be home every night just so I can keep work and family kind of separate. But it's good.
Yeah,
it works.
Totally works.
But then there's some nights where I'm out showing until 8 p.m. and that's fun too, especially if you're writing offers. But
yeah, and it helps to have a supportive spouse too.
Yes.
Right. And I've been super lucky with Kathy to allow me to work the way I have for so many years. But that's a huge thing to have, huge support system to have. But you've structured yourself in a way where you're doing the most important things every day.
Yeah.
And if you don't have clients in active transactions, you're finding clients, or you're providing value to others, or there's something related to that. So before you even get to lunchtime, you've basically done all of the important things that are going to keep a business rolling. That's something that everybody can learn from and should learn from. And not everyone has to get up at 5 a.m.
No, I just like to. I prefer mornings over evenings. And some people work out in the evening. I don't know how they do it because I would never be able to go to bed.
I know.
But I also like to be in bed by 9:30. So, I mean, we're all just different.
Yeah. Well, the morning's the only quiet time you get to yourself.
I know, and
it's
usually the nicest temperature of the day.
Yeah.
If you want, you can sit outside. Having coffee is nice. Yeah, I prefer mornings over evenings any day.
See, but it's not quiet for everybody. Like, my husband has always been a high school teacher, and I've had high schoolers, so like morning's freaking chaos.
Yeah,
it's much quieter at nighttime at my house. Anyway,
and by the way, like, that schedule can change. Like, if you are more like Liz, right? Mm-hmm. You can shift some of those things to the times that make more sense to you. But the important part is that you're doing those things every day.
Right. Yeah, whatever works for you in your timetable.
Yeah.
You could just flip it and do everything the opposite.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, you mentioned in that list of routine things that sometimes you'll come into the office and network here. How important is that agent community in your business?
Well, I personally feel very lucky because I share an office with some of the best agents on the team, and we bounce things off of each other literally every day.
Yeah.
Whether it's a question on pricing a home, or what would you do in this situation with an old agent that's coming into the picture again, or any situation that we come across, it's just like open conversation and banter, and it's always helpful.
Yeah.
And working with people who've been successful too and have been through a lot of weird transactions, it's great. I will say I don't see as many people physically in the office, but on Pemberton 1, it's really nice to be able to throw things out there. Like, I've got a listing that's not selling. I'm going to just lob it out there to see if anybody's got anything. And you usually get traction on that in some way, shape, or form, even with somebody at one of our other 6 offices, that I don't ever see.
Mm-hmm.
But so I think it's huge to have agents around and communication open, and I'm really lucky to be sharing an office with the people I do.
Yeah, you do have some great cohorts in there, because otherwise it can be a really lonely gig.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so we've established that Angie is fantastic at building relationships with clients. So then once that sort of starts translating into the conversation about their actual home search, or they're getting ready to list, what are some of the questions that you ask in every consultation with every buyer or every seller?
I'll start with buyers. I would say, is this your first purchase? And if it is, what are you looking for? I mean, do you know what you're looking for since this is your first time buying? Do you know if you want a single family? Do you know if you want a townhome? Do you know your budget? Have you talked to a lender? So those are very simple preliminary things for first-time buyers. And then I always like to tell them, like, I'm here to educate you from start to finish. And that's one of my favorite parts of my job, is working with people who've never done this before.
Yeah.
And because honestly, it's like, you want to buy a house, but you don't know the first thing about doing it. And that's what I love to do, is to help them. So figuring out why they want to buy, what they want to buy, what they can afford, and then it just becomes fun. Like, let's start looking then. I always say, like, once you can purchase and you know what your budget is and you've got that pre-approval, let's go shopping.
Yeah.
Because that's the fun part. And then with buyers who are either moving up or downsizing, it's kind of the same questions as to why the move. What is it that you want different than your past house?
Mm-hmm.
What have you loved about where you're currently living? What is maybe not so ideal? And just trying to figure out, like, the best fit for them. And sometimes you find that people hate their neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be like, oh, I know what you mean, but it's like, if you have really bad neighbors or it's becoming too busy, it's like, I get it. So it's kind of fun to figure out what people's wants are, and that's when you get to know them too, because then they're really telling you things about them that you wouldn't know otherwise.
Yeah.
So that's for buyers mainly. For sellers, it's kind of the same thing. Like, I have a couple sellers right now that have only been in their house a couple years, but they realize that they want to be closer to her parents. They're a young couple. They're going to start having kids, and the commute from their house to grandma's and then to their work is too much. And so it's like, lifestyle changes are definitely one of the main factors that people want to move and sell. And just being able to help them figure out their why and what's important to them is how I go about it.
Well, I want to point out that, number one, it's a series of really good questions to get to know somebody, right? Because if you understand where the pebble in the shoe is and you can help solve it, that's really valuable. And we know how emotional this process can be. You talked about lifestyle changes, right? Like divorce, diapers, job relocation. I mean, it totally flips your world upside down. A death, a parent that died. And every situation is different. And so to go in there and have that curiosity of how can I best help you is so important. Mm-hmm. And what Angie's doing is you're really just connecting with another human.
Yeah.
You're not talking about commission or sales or contracts or whatever. Like, I would bet you probably give them enough space to say, hey, when you guys are ready, I feel like we're a great fit. When you guys are ready, let me know. We can cross that bridge when we get there.
I use that line a lot, actually.
Really?
I'm not a pushy person. I don't even like to really consider myself a salesperson. I'm a relationship person for sure. And so when they feel comfortable with me and they're ready to make that step, I always tell them, I'm here when you want me. I'm here when you need me.
Yeah.
So I think that makes them feel comfortable.
It's so good. And the takeaway here is that if you can find somebody's motivation and you can prove to them and show them how you're going to help them solve the problem, your growth opportunities are endless in this business.
I agree.
But that's the takeaway. Mm-hmm. I don't know if anyone listening to this is into writing notes, but write that one down. and then call Angie and say, all right, what kind of questions are we really asking? Because that's where the gold is.
Yeah.
And we don't have enough time to go into all of that, but it's so good, Angie.
Good, thank you.
What do you think is the hardest thing for as you're talking through these initial questions, what do you think is the hardest thing for buyers and sellers to understand about the process? Something that agents we're so used to the process, but folks who don't do it all the time find things more confusing.
I would say timeline. I think a lot of people, as far as people I've been working with more recently, they don't understand that they can be in a new home in 30 days.
Yeah.
When I say, because this house is newly on the market, we should probably write a strong offer. A quicker close date would probably be great for the seller because they're already moved out. We could probably have you in here in 30 days if your lender supports it. Like, what? We could move that fast? And so that is one thing I think people are a little surprised by. And honestly, I think the ease of it, once you get through the questions, so especially with people listing their home, like, what do I have to do to get it ready? How long is this going to take? Do I need to do a bunch of work to my house? It's like, well, it depends, but let's go through step by step and figure that out. And once we get through all that, then it's pretty smooth.
Yeah.
And then you're waiting to close. And I think people don't realize it can be a really simple process. I have some sellers that are going to be coming on the market in a couple weeks. And she's like, what do we need to do to our house to get it ready? And I'm like, nothing. You are the dream seller. And she's like, so we're ready? And I'm like, yeah, we'll take photos next week. You're ready. And that to them is like, okay, well, this is moving faster than I thought. So I think timeline is probably the biggest thing that people are surprised by, that it doesn't have to take 2-3 months to get into a new home or sell your house if you do it right.
Interesting. Parker, same question to you, but maybe more from the agent perspective. What do you hear most that agents think is tricky to explain to clients, or that they run into stumbling blocks when they're talking with clients?
Well, you mean more from the broker side.
Yeah.
You said agent side. Which is fine, right?
Thank you.
I see it from both sides, which is great. And I also transact myself enough to understand what it's like to be in the shoes of buyers and sellers constantly.
Yes.
Going through that right now. Can you repeat it?
Yeah, I mean, when on the broker side, on the leadership side, when you're talking to agents, what do you hear most often is the thing that agents struggle with communicating to clients?
I think it's confidence of just knowing how to guide them.
Yeah.
You're meeting somebody oftentimes that you don't know yet, or you don't know very well yet, and it's going in there with the confidence that your system is going to help them get there. But I also think, though, that if you just learn from Angie and you connect as a human and really ask the right questions, they'll give you all those answers. Mm-hmm. And that, like, I used to go into appointments and just say, hey, just so you guys know, we are here to talk about the house and how we're going to get from point A to point B, but I don't have any contracts with me today. I'm not going to ask you to sign anything. And it used to just knock the guard down so that I could get the answers that I needed. And I think that they really appreciate that. And now today with agents, a lot of times I'll talk to agents, and at the end of it, and this would be considered like a recruiting appointment, right? At the end of it, they'll text me, and when we're driving down the road, they're like, we didn't even talk about the company. We didn't even talk about real estate.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I was just trying to figure out if I like you or not.
Right.
Because I only want to work with people I like. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh,
Do you like me?
Yeah, but so many people try to hard close, and people today don't want to be hard closed on anything.
No.
They have the information at their fingertips. They have a problem to solve. They want somebody to help guide them, like a Sherpa, right? Yeah. And if it didn't require that skill of that human being like you, they would just do it on their own.
And I do think there are a few sellers, especially out there, who are expecting a hard close, but when you don't present it in a way that maybe they're expecting it, they're pleasantly surprised. But also, you can kind of read those people. And then when you leave that listing appointment, you follow up with a call or an email and you say, you know, this I think this went really well. I think based on our conversation, we could have your house sold, blah, 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 by the, you know, this price, whatever. And I feel confident, and if you do, I'm happy to send over listing paperwork, because I feel like if you leave it up to some people, they may never respond or commit. Mm-hmm. And so there are those times where you don't have to hard close it, but you have to follow up quickly, because that's what they're expecting.
Yeah.
So, but that's just another reading of people and knowing what style they are.
And that has changed drastically since I even got into the business. I mean, 2011, we didn't have the tools and the resources and the websites and the things that we have now. And clients didn't have it either. The way that we sold back then was very much more of a salesy type process. Think about it too. The consumer wasn't trained on Amazon yet. They weren't trained on Facebook as much. Like, we're in a point and click and get right now what we want demand society. Mm-hmm. And then we go into the house and we try to force them into something. Whoa, they back up. Mm-hmm. Because they have the options at their disposal and they make the decisions. I just think that the whole world is changing in that direction.
I agree. And I think it does make them feel more comfortable when they are in the driver's seat and able to click and sign versus sign in person. Mm-hmm. You know, unless you're really old school and you like to have that pen in your hand. But I would say majority of people are not that way anymore.
The way that I learned back then was the person that showed me, I would just trail him and go on appointments. He'd bring a spreadsheet in the neighborhood that we were in, and it would highlight the homes that he had sold. And his listing presentation was to prove to them how many homes he had sold in the neighborhood. It was, and I sat through, dozens of those appointments before I realized we're not asking them really any questions about their motivation or what they're doing. We're just telling them how cool we are and why they should list with us. And for some people it did work, but other people, we lost those appointments, or they were terrible clients the whole transaction, because we never built that rapport from the beginning. Mm-hmm. You never had that emotional connection that, hey, I'm a real human being, so are you, and we're going to work together on this.
Yeah.
Not like sign here or else. But that's when I started to look at the whole strategy of sales. I think it's more service, personally, than sales.
I agree.
And then also, by the way, if it is okay to guide people a little bit more aggressively, if they do say, hey, we don't know what we don't know, Angie, we're really relying on you to tell us what to do.
That's where I love to come in, because I just feel, starting 5 years ago on my own, my confidence level was much less than it is now.
Sure.
Now I feel like I could talk to anybody and help them from point A to point Z in the process. But when you first start out, you're like, that's a really good question. Let me figure that out for you.
Let me get an answer for you.
Yeah, so I agree. It's being able to guide them is huge, and that relationship building piece is a massive part of it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's generational too, that shift from kind of the here's all the cool things I've done to like, let me show you how much I care about you as a person. And I think up and coming generations value that so much more. I think that's the model of the future for sure. Mm-hmm.
I just think about, how do I want to be sold? How do I want to transact? Yeah. And oftentimes we talk about that in company meetings all the time, about the car analogy, or the financial advisor, or the accountant, or the whoever that professional is. My experiences with them often carve the way that I want to service people, and that should be your approach. Mm-hmm. Honestly,
I agree completely.
All that being said, in these years that you've been in the business, what do you think your biggest challenge is or has been?
And I think this goes without saying, and most agents will experience this, but the roller coaster that real estate is. There are months and quarters where I am very busy and I feel like I'm on a high and I'm like, this is wonderful, my business is booming. And then there are times where I'm like, shoot, I don't have a bunch going on right now. And then you start to doubt yourself. And so I think that's the biggest challenge for me, is just that self-doubt when things aren't super busy. But I have to tell myself, you need to take the steps that you've always taken to keep present in people's lives and make sure they understand who you are and what you can help them with. And then it starts to come back again. And so I would just say the roller coaster is definitely the hardest thing in real estate.
I would tell you too, from my perspective, for me and for us, it's the same thing. Honest to God, it's the ebbs and flows of the business, and there is no guarantee.
No.
And every day we wake up, we're unemployed. And every day I literally feel like everything could go away if I don't show up and do the things that I need to do. Mm-hmm. And it's a little like OCD, Liz knows. It's pretty bad, but yeah, that is the struggle. And I would say if you get deeply rooted into your routines, that's what's going to prevail in the long run, because markets change, tough times last, or tough times don't last, tough people do, right?
Right.
Yeah. But that's also why I hammer on the concept here of our standard. And what is the standard for you individually, the agent, right? The reason I do that is because it's the truth. It's the facts that if you want to be successful in this business, you have to hold yourself to a standard. Sometimes I might sound like a drill sergeant, but I know that it's the right advice, because if I said, hey, it's okay to candy ass it for a couple of weeks when you're not busy, 90 days from now, they're not going to have anything in the pipeline.
Right.
So I would be leading somebody down the wrong path. And that's the thing. You get into the business, you had some great experience early on learning what a successful agent was. You became a successful agent yourself, and then you need to hold yourself accountable to doing those things that got you here.
Right. I agree. And Marty and I have a cruise coming up. We're going to Alaska, and I have a couple clients who are, one of them in particular, she's like, so if we get an offer on our house while I'm like, don't worry, I'll be working. She's like, what? And I'm like, well, that's the thing. Like, it's not like I need to be at your house to present this offer to you. I can call you and I can email it to you. So yes, I'm still going to be working technically, but it's like, I'm not going to be on full time. Yeah. So it's just, while those roller coaster moments happen and the times that you are taking a little time to yourself, it's okay to still focus on the business, even though you're unwinding a little bit too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and some of that comes with just setting the proper expectation up front with somebody. Mm-hmm. If you know you're going to take a listing and you know you have a trip, you can tell them about it.
Right.
And then explain you have an excellent team behind you and several associates that you office with that can also be there for them, and you've already got them taken care of no matter what.
Yeah.
And that is super important, because if you just work through things and you don't live life, you'll burn yourself out. It doesn't matter how committed and motivated you are, like, you will get burned out.
Yeah. And I think the most successful people are those who have good balance in life, because you do find those people who work way too hard and then you don't see them for a while because, that's what happened.
Absolutely.
They
fizzled, yeah. I think we always refer back to our coach, Emily Kettenberg, says one of the ways you combat that is to be present where your feet are. So the thing where you try to kind of be in both worlds all the time at the same time, that leads you to not actually pay attention to either thing. So say, hey, tonight I am going out to dinner. While I'm out to dinner, I'm going to be present at dinner with whomever I'm with. I'm not going to do work things at the same time. And then when I get home, then I'm going to do work things for an hour because I got to catch up. And that's what I'll do. I will be present in that moment. But giving yourself the freedom to say, I can chunk my day into smaller increments and then really commit to what you're doing. I love that idea. I think especially for busy professional parents, I think it helps to say, I don't have to be present in either thing all the time, as long as I put some intentional time into each one every day.
I really need to take that and utilize that. I have my phone and my watch on all the time, and I do find that, especially when Charlotte was a little bit younger, we'd be doing something and I'd be like, oh, hang on, sweetie, I need to take this call. And she'd be like, again? And it's like, dang it, maybe I should be better at just like blocking an hour during dinner and not even looking at my phone.
It's a little tweak, right? Like, it's not a huge thing. And actually, the funny thing is that one of the ways this is most obvious in my family is my daughter Lane is a junior in college. She's an acting major, so things on the TV are typically more serious for her because she's looking at different things, and she tends to be we watch The Walking Dead as a family, right? And like, this is a big deal. But when we're gonna sit down and watch an episode, I typically am always playing on my computer while I'm doing things or on my phone. She's like, no, this is when we watch the show and we talk about what's happening on the show, or we react together. So we sit and we watch, right? And like, that is what you do. And it's watching TV, but still just being present in that moment for that 40 minutes is a huge deal.
I love that.
Isn't that funny?
I know. I feel like we're all guilty of that. Marty and I are watching House of the Dragon right now, and
there you go.
I definitely put my phone down and focus on the show. And then if there's ads every now and then I'll like quick check it and put it back. And he does the same thing. But it's like, we are really focused during that. So I guess I do it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would like to tell you that there's light at the end of the tunnel, but it's just something that you just keep battling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You just keep trying to improve. And, I'd be lying to you guys if I said that I was 100% present with my kids all the time. I'm not.
Well, of course
not.
Not.
I might physically be there with them and I'm, having fun and I'm throwing them in the pool, but there's always something work-related on my mind. Always.
Yeah.
And I don't think it'll ever go away.
Well, especially at the capacity you're working,
It's kind of the curse of just being in this position.
Yeah.
Emily told me one day, it's the side effect of ambition.
Sure.
It's a side effect of ambition. But then there are some guardrails that you can put around things, like you lead your client down the path of, you know what, I am a mom, as you're getting to know each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
We really protect our nights. So after, 8 o'clock, I put my phone away. If there's an emergency, I'm going to check my email one more time before we go to bed. I typically go to bed at 9, but I'm up at 5, and you're going to get an early response from me.
Yeah.
Does that work in your life, by the way? Is that okay? Of course, Angie. Yeah, like, think about how ridiculous that is.
Yeah.
To a client to say, hey, I need to have, or how ridiculous it is for a human being like you, Angie, to be on all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
So the best thing you can do is set that expectation up front.
I agree. Speaking on that, I've told so many people that I'm up super early, and every now and then I'll be up early and I'll text and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just texted him at 6:30, and I'm like, and then I send a follow-up and like 2 hours later, I'm so sorry for that early text. And but I have told people I'm up super early, so if you ever have questions after 5 a.m., feel free to text me and I'll respond. And they love that. But
I kind of position the company in the way that I kind of, I guess you call it like brand myself, but it's just who I am. I always am talking about how early I go to bed or how early I wake up.
Yeah.
Always. Well, and it is true, but I'm setting the expectation that after 7:30 I'm going to be with my kids, or after 7 I'm going to be with my kids.
Yeah.
But the ones that continue to the blatant offenders, I'll hit them with a text back at like 4:18 a.m. and I have a smile on my face every time, because then you would get pinged on their nightstand. They're like, "Who is texting me?" And it's Parker, or it's an email.
It's like, you texted me at 8:30 last night, so
Yeah.
two can play this game.
Yeah, yeah. Right. And like, this has actually been a topic for us for a few weeks now, because I've been getting up ridiculously early, and I've been saying it's the only time during the day that I have quiet time, and I really like those 2 hours before everybody else gets up. And the first thing that happens is like the smoke detector starts chirping this morning, and I'm like, oh God. And then 5:15, Graham starts screaming, and Graham's the type of kid that doesn't cry it out and like go back to sleep. He keeps screaming, and it gets louder and louder. And then, he'll wake up the boys at 6:45, and then 7, I go in and I get them out of their rooms. But if people know your schedule and they know you're a real human being, you can avoid some of those like pitfalls or challenges in this industry.
Mm-hmm. I agree, for sure.
Well, I think we could talk to Angie all day because I think you are full of so much great information. But we have reached the end of our time, so we want to thank you for joining us today, Angie. You are always a hoot.
Me.
Yay! So that's it for today's episode of No Contingencies. If you got value from this conversation, please take a second to share it with another agent who's serious about growing. If you're looking for a brokerage that's forward-thinking, accountability-driven, and built for the next chapter, we should talk. Thanks for listening, and have a great day.
Thanks, guys.